I'm doing some lazy recording and crafting on my table just to show a tulip wreath. And I know most people use the foam or the straw for their wreath frame, but for some reason I'm really loving the way that the wire frame sits on the door. So I like to do it this way too. It's just another alternative. Just wanted to show you guys quickly, how you can do it. I'll just do the beginning and start it in the same method all the way around till you get to the end. I uh, and I particularly I had an order for two for a double door, and I couldn't find floral pens, which is so crazy. I guess everyone's using them this time of year. So I just wanted to show you, and I already started. So you have, this is just the wire frame from, and forgive my background, no, it's probably not the best idea, the ideal place to show you a video, but this frame came from the Dollar Tree. So I believe their frames are what, um, 14 inches. So it's a purple wreath, so purple tulips. So I'm using purple as the background. I don't know how well you can see that because my lighting may not be the best. So I start off and I just simply glue down on the frame, and then I wrap. Um, I wrap around 2 to 3 times in the beginning, just so that I can try to make sure that I have a place for the tulips stems to lay. So that's 2 times. I'm gonna do 3 times and come around just to make sure that it's pretty secure. So I do that. Hopefully you guys can see this well. If you want, you can add an additional glob, a little dab of glue just so that it can hold down in place while you're getting started. Because after that, after you get started, it'll just kind of lay by itself. And this is in satin ribbon. It's like that paper type of ribbon. So if you can see in the background, I already have all of my colors in groups laid out, so it's easy just to pick them up and get going. So I did do a tutorial for the heart shape wreath on a wire heart shape, and it's pretty much the same thing. So I just grab, and I'm doing 5. I found out 5 is probably a great number, not too small in bulk, like not too bulky and not too skimpy. So I take my 5 and I lay them down. If you can see, I'll try to turn it around after I get this first one going. And then I take some glue and just glue across the stem of the tulips. I then take my ribbon. Let's see if you can see. I take my ribbon. Be careful because you know hot glue is extremely hot. You touch it with your hands and you have all ripped up hands. So then I take it like that and I wrap around, and I go twice again so that my next one will have a bed of ribbon to lay on also. Let's see if I can get you guys a better view. Let's see. I'm coming around this way. It's so hard to videotape yourself making wreaths because, of course, your position isn't always the same. So that's what I do to start off. The first set is there. Then I take my next one. And I try to mix up the colors so it won't be one all in one place and next. So I just gather the bunch again. Gather the bunch of tulips. Again, I'm doing 5. I'm going to, my hand is probably in a bad place for you all to see. I am going to lay them right on top. So that's there. I'm kind of overlapping right here. And I'm placing those down again, overlapped. And then I will glue across just to make it a little more stable. One got away from me. On the wireframe, I found that one, it does lay better on the door, and two, it actually looks wider when you're finished. Let's see. So I wrap around once, and then I'm kind of going down just a little bit so that I can have enough room to lay the next one on there. I know, I really need to invest in a great tripod. I couldn't, if you see how I have my phone hanging, you would probably laugh at me. So again, if you could see that. Okay, I'll do one more. Grab my bunch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't put a lot of emphasis on where or how the leaves lay, because then when I'm finished, I go through and I literally like pull the leaves out just so that they can be, enough spread out and have that nice, pretty greenery sticking out between the tulips. So again, I have my bunch. And you probably could do glue a little bit too. Glue down some, place them overlapping to lay. And remember, you don't want this tulip, whatever's going up against this, you don't want that sticking too far down, because then it'll be a dip in between the two. So you want to make sure that they lay over, kind of up against. Let's turn again. Again, I'm going to glue across. I got some glue on my finger. Across the tulip stems. And then I will wrap with the tulip. With the ribbon. Wrap once. Working with this roll always poses a problem, because you want to get it. So I just pull it tight enough that it's around the whole thing. The glue is holding it down where the stems are. And I'm wrapping just to have a bed of ribbon to lay my next set. If you see summer coming, you can always pull it. And the good thing about this is when you're finished, always do a test. Go pulling at the tulips lightly to see if any of them are like coming up because I didn't wrap well enough or put enough glue. You can always take your glue gun and go in between the frame, the frame where the ribbon is, and add extra glue for a little more support. So again, this is it. So I just wanted to do a quick tutorial. I'm going to finish this up because I have 2 to do. And when I finish up, I'll show you guys the finished product. I'll even come back and show you all how I go through and pull the leaves out so that they show very well between the tulips. Okay, I'm all done, pretty much all done. I just have this one little section, if you can see, to complete. And it can get tricky right here. So, what I do is I do a dry run before I actually glue them down, because I want to make sure that it's underneath, it's still following the pattern, So what I would do is take that's the first one that we put down. I'll take this next bunch and I'm going to kind of stick it in there underneath to see if it's still gonna stay with the flow. And that's pretty much, it. So after that, this is where I know before I said you glue on top of the stems when you do them. So on this one, I make sure, because you may not be able to wrap, or you should be able to, or you may not. And sometimes once you get to this point, and I'm getting glue strings off, and you wrap, it makes the flowers go down some. So, you may have to this may be a glue part for you. So again, I'm just putting glue all the way across this for extra support because it's the end. I try to hold this, I'm sorry for blocking the camera. I want to hold this up, and I should have had my flowers ready because I don't want the tulips that's already down to stick to the glue. Let's see. Okay, so I have my bunch, and I'm just going to slide this in here underneath all the rest and just position. It may not be a difficult thing for you, but every now and then I try when I'm doing it. It doesn't always fit perfectly. So you may have to take two and then one, or, something like that. So I still have this attached. I shouldn't have let this down yet. I had to find out where I was so that I can try to wrap one more time. So I'm just finding that original bunch right here. Looks like I'm going to be able to wrap. I put a little extra glue on here for some extra support. And I'm going to take my ribbon again, moving that first bunch that we put down. And this doesn't have to be perfect. I'm sorry, I'm moving all out the camera. You already don't have the greatest view. And you're going to try to slide that ribbon between that first set that you laid and this one without missing out on some of them. And it's usually it's not that difficult. It's because I'm trying to do the camera. So I'm only going to be able to wrap that once. So I wrap around as tight as possible. And this is where I make a little hoop so that I can attach a ribbon or whatever you're going to use to hold it up. Let me find my scissors. So, and then I want to show you guys the back. It's nice and neat. Let me cut this a little extra. It's nice and neat in the back. So here's the finished. Now you probably can't really see, but I'm going to turn over the back so you can see the back really fast. It's really nice and neat when you're finished. You can see how the back looks. So again, I told you that I don't worry about how the greenery and the leaves lay as I'm doing it, because if they're all hidden, then I just go through pulling a little bit. I'm gonna come back, pulling a little bit, making sure that everything is in there and pretty secure. I have a habit of going around my wreath just in the circular motion, around the circle as I want it to lay, because I want it to be perfectly circular. So I would do this several times just to make sure everything is kind of laying, right in the right circle. See if anything is sticking up, because some of them may have to be removed or, pulled up, placed somewhere else. Every now and then you get a spot where you have a little gap, and you guys probably can't see that on the angle that I have the video. Excuse me. So I'll just go through and do that, go around in a circle, because I want them to lay perfectly fine. I'll take a picture when I post this so you can actually see the entire thing. But again, I go then between the tulips. Let me see, maybe you can see better if I pull back. And I find the greenery that might be hidden in between. And I go through and I'm literally like pulling. This came up. So that's the good thing, that I could find that. That's why I say I go through it and make sure that it's in there. So I try to find that spot that it was in there. Put a little dab of glue on there so that it can hold, and find that spot where you wrapped it in the with the ribbon so that it can hold in there well. So take all the extra glue that might be on there off, and I'm just going through and I'm literally pulling the stems and the leaves out from in between that may be laying down so that it can come out. Any tulips that's laying too flat, I'm adjusting that because I like I want it to be in a complete circle around the wreath, and I like the little stems coming out. It just gives it an extra flair. So I'm just gonna do that all the way around. See, I'm pulling these. And I'm sorry, you guys probably don't have a great view. Try to find, I did purchase a little cheap tripod from Five Below. And so who knows what I did with it. If you see my craft area, you can only imagine finding it. One tulips like this that's fully open, that came off, so we won't worry about it. If it's really noticeable, I'll go and put one back on. But yeah, just go through and make sure it's secure. Do a light pull of your tulips, because you definitely don't want to sell this and someone goes to touching them like, oh, how pretty, and then the tulip fall off. So, and you know these tulips sometimes come off straight off the stem. Put a little bit of glue on the edge of it and put it back on. Yeah, so I'll just go through, especially where it's like bunches of the purple right there. I want the greenery to really show between there. The stems, because you know these are like hidden everywhere, moving them around. But yeah, so you guys get the gist of it. I hope this helped. You got any questions, you know you can always ask me. Again, I'll show you. I'll take a picture and actually show the wreath. I'll put it in the comments. I'll hang it on my door. My lighting in my house is horrible. So I hope this helps. You know, a different alternative to having just the foam or the... I haven't done one on a grapevine, and that's probably a really nice one too, so I'll have to try that at some point. But I pretty much used the straw, the foam, and now I've been using the wire. So just another alternative. Again, here is the finish. Again, here's the back, really nice and neat. All right, talk to you guys soon.